What's up, everybody? You are very welcome along to what's going to be a regular segment throughout the transfer window. Keep an eye out for it in your inboxes. It should be dropping about this time every night. And the reason that I'm leaving it so late to put up is I want to make sure that I get the next day's transfer stories from the papers and stuff so we can discuss them and see how you guys feel about them. Now, as always, a couple of things to ask. If you haven't subscribed to Anfield Agenda yet, please do. Do drop a like on the video and, of course, let me know your thoughts in the comment section about anything that I speak about. Let me know if you agree, disagree, or if you have some transfer targets that you would like to see the club look at. I did promise when we moved over to Twitch for all of our live content that we would start making more punchier, to the point, less waffle type videos here on YouTube, and I'm trying to stick to that right now. So let's try to get this done in under 10 minutes. Here we go. The first story I want to talk about is, of course, Sadio Mane and Mohamed Salah. Just when we think this story has maybe come to a conclusion, there are a few new twists and turns along the way. So it was reported in the Mirror that Sadio Mane and Mohamed Salah had apparently requested, and I'm using the term requested because I don't like the phrase demanded, wages of about £400,000 a week. That's a lot of money. And one of the players maybe getting that wage I could understand, but I would be very, very surprised if the club were to entertain both of them. And when I say one of them, I don't actually have one in mind. My own personal preference, I would have rather kept Sadio, but that's not the point we're trying to get at here. That's more that waffle that we're trying to cut out. So this story took a little bit of a twist later on today when it's been reported that no matter what Liverpool offer Sadio Mane now, he's no intention of signing on. He wants to go to Bayern Munich, and he hopes that the club can agree a fee with Bayern to make that happen. I've always warned that I felt like Sadio Mane felt a little bit, or I could understand if he did feel a little bit underappreciated at Liverpool Football Club. If you look at a wage scenario where the rumoured wages of the players are Bobby on about 180 grand a week, Mo on about 200 grand a week, and Sadio on about £100,000 a week. If that is true, that means he's earning less money than Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, less money than James Milner, less money than Jordan Henderson, less money than Virgil van Dijk, less money than Alisson Becker. And no matter what we think, Sadio Mane deserves a higher wage than he's currently getting. Now, if Liverpool were only willing to offer 15% to both Mane and Salah as incentives to sign on, as a wage increase, I think that's quite frankly ridiculous. Now, the reason I'm saying this is, over the media and on fan channels, much like my own, there will probably be times where you think people are trying to make you pick one side or the other. You're either team FSG or you're team Salah or you're team Mane. Ultimately, we want what's best for the football club as fans. And I don't like the spin in the media. I don't like the club maybe putting their spin out. And I certainly don't like the spin that comes from the players' agents. Rami Abbas in particular has wound me up and a lot of Liverpool fans up over the past few months. So it looks like Sadio's off. And that is a crying shame. And I mean that sincerely. I really did want Sadio to stay at the club. Mohamed Salah, we don't know yet. We don't know what's going on. There's been reports that he'd be happy to play for another English club when his Premier League contract runs down. I don't believe that to be the case. From the few bits of poking around I've been able to do and people that I've spoken with, I get the feeling that if Sadio Mane's time with Liverpool is up, that he wants to move to Spain, and that we will probably see him kidding out for Real Madrid or Barcelona or somebody else. But that's again in a worst case scenario. What could happen, and what has been mentioned to me over the past day or so, is that maybe there's a compromise. Maybe Liverpool could give Mohamed Salah a 2-year contract extension. Again, I've no idea on potential figures there, but I would be dismayed if he left Liverpool on a free at the end of the season. And I'd go as far as to say, for me, if Mohamed Salah, and the reason I'm mentioning Salah here is because Mane looks like he's moving to Bayern. So the reason I'm about to say what I'm about to say has got nothing to do with Mohamed Salah, the individual, and I hope that becomes clear. So for me, if Mohamed Salah lined up for Manchester City, Manchester United, Chelsea again, or Spurs after the stint he's had at Liverpool, and again, want to point out, make it very clear, I'm saying this because Mane looks like he's off to Germany, and if it was Mane, I'd be saying the same thing. For me, if he went on and played for another Premier League club, the legacy's gone out the window. Bye bye. All of the records and all of the amazing memories and nights. the bitterness would take over, and I'd like to think and believe that players know this. So that's, again, one of the reasons I don't think we will see Mohamed Salah move to another Premier League club. But hopefully the club can renew a deal with Mohamed Salah and keep him where we want him to be, which is at Liverpool Football Club. So let me know your thoughts on this saga. And it is a saga at this moment in time, and it doesn't look like it's going to be resolved anytime soon. We're going to have to find a replacement for Sadio Mane. And if you're to believe newspaper reports, Liverpool are looking at Christian Pulisic. And this is quite interesting because I've long thought that we should have bought Christian Pulisic from Borussia Dortmund when Chelsea bought him. I don't know what the situation was at the time. I was trying to cast my mind back. I can't remember. But it's been reported by the Star Sport that Jurgen Klopp remains keen on signing Chelsea's Christian Pulisic this summer. Very difficult to know what's going on at Chelsea with regards to incomings or outgoings. They've just had a takeover that's been approved, and I'm sure there's a lot in the new owner's inbox to sort out. But if Chelsea were willing to do business, and if it was a number that Liverpool could afford, I would have Christian Pulisic at Liverpool in a heartbeat. And again, regular viewers will know I wanted him before he went to Chelsea. The only thing that would make me a tiny bit concerned is he has had, and maybe Chelsea fans could let me know more detail about this, he had seemingly had some niggly injuries, if my memory is correct, over the last couple of seasons. And he's been in and out of Thomas Tuchel's side. Now, maybe that's more because Thomas Tuchel didn't think he was the right fit. Maybe it's because Thomas Tuchel just thought for the system that Chelsea play, there are more fitting players. Or maybe it is that he had a few niggly injuries. But he hasn't played as much football at Chelsea Football Club as he probably would have hoped for when he moved from Borussia Dortmund. So we've yet to see Jurgen Klopp really go back to players that he's worked with before. I know there was a link with Goetze when he first came in to Liverpool, but this would be a bit of a change from Jurgen Klopp, and I'd be all for it. I would actually, you know what, I'm gonna say this. Yeah, I would rather Christian Pulisic than Serge Gnabry, who is a name that's been linked as a potential straight swap maybe with Bayern Munich. So look, I'm not saying Gnabry's a bad player, but there's something about Pulisic. I really do feel he can be a difference maker, and I hope that this story from the Star and these links are true, and I'm trying my best to figure out if they are. The other name that I wanted to bring to you guys today is a midfielder. So we look like we've missed out on Arlian Tchouameni. Real Madrid favourites to sign him. PSG also have an interest. The fee that is being requested by Monaco is about €80 million. So that means we can probably rule that one out, unless there's a changing of circumstance, or unless a changing of heart perhaps from Tchouameni, who looks like he's set on picking Madrid. So then we look around and we think, what other midfield options are there? Jude Bellingham is the obvious answer. Jude Bellingham is the name I think that comes to most of our minds. And I will go as far as to say what I've said many times. I firmly believe that when Jude Bellingham leaves Borussia Dortmund, he will sign for Liverpool Football Club. I don't think Liverpool will be able to get that transfer done this summer, unless maybe they went down the Naby Keita type route and got him signed up for next summer. But I've had no indications to believe that could be the case. So I do think he's the long-term target, but he won't be available this summer because obviously Erling Haaland has left Dortmund and they're not going to weaken themselves anymore, particularly when there's no buyout clause in Bellingham's contract, whereas with Haaland there was that £51 million buyout clause. So this leads me to a story that was brought to my attention earlier on, linking Liverpool to Nicolo Barella of Inter Milan. And this is the calibre of midfielder that I'm very happy to see Liverpool linked with. Now, I would take it with a pinch of salt because Inter Milan, AC Milan, right at the top of Italian football at the minute, and Barella has been remarkable. I remember when he played against us in the Champions League, just sitting back and watching him and just thinking what a quality player he is, as well as, of course, his performances for his national team. But then I do ask, how much would it cost and how likely are our owners to stump up significant cash without a player moving on? Now, we've always been told about the money being there if a generational talent becomes available. And to me, that generational talent is Jude Bellingham. And maybe we will see the owners stump up cash for Bellingham next summer, and it will take about 80 million quid, I would imagine, maybe even north of that if he has a particularly good season. So taking that into consideration, if Bellingham is the long-term target, which he is, would we go and spend what it would take to get Barella out of Inter Milan, which I would suggest will be not an insignificant amount of money? So as a player, no problem taking him. Absolutely, I'd be over the moon, quite frankly, if he came in. He'd be right up there in my top 3 of midfield targets. But I do have my doubts on how realistic it would be this summer. And one thing I'm unsure of is what exactly type of budget Klopp's working with this summer, because if you think back to times Liverpool have spent really big on transfers, it's usually after we've let a player go or we've sold a player for big money. So let's wait and see what happens in this window. But I'm trying to stay positive. I'm trying not to lose my mind a little bit too early, because as has been reminded to me in the comment section, I do get a bit worked up around transfer windows. I do tend to be a little bit defeatist at times about the window. But what I will reiterate is that, like most of you guys, I firmly believe that whatever happens in this window, Liverpool will be challenging next season and we will be up at the top end of the Premier League. That I don't think is up for debate. So again, let me know your thoughts on the few things I've spoken about. Let me know your thoughts on Mo and Sadio. And of course, would you take Nicolo Barella and would you take Christian Pulisic, or do you think Chelsea would sell us Christian Pulisic? Thank you very much for your time. As always, my friends, do drop a like on the video and I will chat to you again. Same time, same place, most likely tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.